Welcome, welcome. We are live and recording. It is May the 17th, 2019. We're having a few folks come into the room. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Roundtable Day, and we have, well, everyone's a special guest. We have a couple of particularly special guests. Sonia is here. She comes to us via Germany and Rwanda, so really, really happy to have her here. And my mama and my nephew are here from Canada visiting. And just to also recognize and acknowledge that Anita's in the room. And I believe this might be her last in-person roundtable.
Correct.
As she's moving. So welcome everyone. We're just thrilled to have you here to have another roundtable. Welcome to people in person, and welcome to those of you online. We're delighted to have you. I'm just going to do a couple of housekeeping items as usual, and apologies, there's someone pushing the, there's a bit of noise in the background, but that should stop in just a second. For those of you on Zoom, feel free, if you, we can hear you, so if you're unmuted and you want to ask a question, thanks to the amazing Francis, we have all sorts of high tech today, so the folks in the room can hear you if you want to ask a question, and if you want to ask a question, using the chat function, you're welcome to do that, whatever you're most comfortable with. So we have one more meeting this year, or this chunk of time until we break for the summer, and it's a little bit of a different meeting. It's going to be June 22nd, or June 21st rather, which is a Friday. However, I will be in the United States at that point, so it's only going to be an online meeting. Only going to be online. And I might ask you if we can bump it up a little bit in time to make the time zones a little familiar. I think otherwise I'm going to be starting at midnight or something. But I'll give you more information about that. And it's going to be on change management. So I've been doing a ton of reading on change and linking change management to learning culture. So please feel free to join us online if that works for you, and I'll be sending out more information soon on that. So we don't have a meeting in July or August, and we'll start again in September. And some upcoming topics, Kate McBride, who's the chief of the ICT department, she was scheduled to do a workshop on learning culture. She's a hoot. She's really fun and funny. So we're going to see, she had to zip off to Germany for something unexpectedly. So we'll see if we can get her this fall. I'm talking to someone about doing a workshop on visual learning and a few other things. So if you have ideas, if there's topics that you'd like to see, please let me know. Kathy Vaughn, thank you Kathy, just sent me an idea the other day, so I'm looking into that. As always, if you have ideas to make the roundtable better and meet your needs better, please let me know. And if something's not working for you, please let me know as well. And also, we are charged 300 shillings for your name badges once you RSVP. So with the exception of the speaker, we don't ask speakers to pay. If you're able to cover that cost, that's really appreciated, and I'll pass an envelope around in a moment. And if you're able to pay more than that, 1,000 shillings, that's also appreciated. And you might say, Leanne, your math is off. Why would you charge 1,000 shillings when they only cost 300? That's because the difference goes towards the group decides every year where to donate that money to. So every year we donate to a different educational group. So again, I'll pass that envelope around if you can donate without it causing a hardship. We would appreciate that. And also we finally have the Learning and Development introductory video online. It's done, it's done, it's done, it's done. So Sonia interviewed me from Rwanda, and we captured that, and then we gave it to Maxwell, who did an amazing job editing it. So it's live. And if you need some editing, if you're looking for video editing, he was super lovely to work with. And just, I don't know about you, but sometimes tough people speak a different language than us. And he wasn't that way. He was really easy and lovely to work with. So check his contact information as well as the link to the video is in the agenda. So feel free to check that out. Okay, I think one of the best parts of the roundtable is the cool and interesting people in the room. So I'm going to throw it over to you for a moment to do some introductions. We'll just go around the room, and then we'll do a really quick icebreaker to get us thinking about volunteering. And we'll do a special introduction of Sonia in a moment. But in the meantime, let's just do a go around the circle and go around the internet for Donovan and Ellen if you want to introduce yourselves in a moment. And just say your name and a role that you play. Could be professional, personal, could be a volunteer role that you had at some point. Feel free to do that. And we'll skip Sonia with her permission because we'll do a fuller introduction of her in a moment. Mom, are you comfortable starting?
Sure. I'm Grandma Faye Wilson from British Columbia, Canada, retired nurse. And Mom and Grandma.
Welcome, welcome. Nathan.
I'm Nathan. I'm also from British Columbia. This is my grandma, her grandson, and I work at the YMCA as a lifeguard.
Welcome, Nathan.
Excellent. And my name is Anita Shankar, and the role I choose to highlight today is learning and development participant because it's been my favorite professional development opportunity since I've been here. So thank you.
Welcome, welcome, Anita.
My name is Esther Guido, currently a volunteer.
Welcome, Esther.
Hello, people. My name is Halima Mantiko. I'm a student and a founder of an organization.
Great. Welcome, Halima.
Hi, I'm Jill. I'm just completing my first year in Canada with my family. I hold a management here. I gave up a job working to provide support for grassroots community groups back in the UK. And a lot of that is around volunteering and volunteering practice and governance and things. So previous career as a journalist and government press officer as well. So communication is a big thing for me. So I'm very happy to be here.
Great. Welcome, Jill. Donovan or Ellen, do you want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself? You're welcome if you like.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you great, Ellen. Welcome.
Great. Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name's Ellen Martin. I'm joining from Scotland today. As you can tell by my accent, not originally from Scotland, from Toronto. One of the roles that I play, right now I'm working for an organization called Youth Challenge International, an INGO that's been in the business of volunteer sending for the last 25 years. So yeah, really excited about the conversation today.
Welcome. And Ellen, how did you hear about the roundtable?
So I work with DOT as well, and so was on your mailing list from that work. Yeah.
Great. Oh, welcome, Ellen. And I'm Canadian from Vancouver, so we like to make fun of people from Toronto, but you're in Scotland, so yeah, you know.
There we go.
Great. Welcome, welcome. Donovan, do you want to introduce yourself? You can unmute yourself or I can do that for you. Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm Donovan. I'm joining in from Nairobi. I'm originally from Zambia, but currently here with my wife who works for Aircraft. In the last couple of months, I've begun volunteering with a small training company called Linux Training something, I forget the full name. And so I'm joining them once in a while to do training in Linux. Linux is an operating system like Windows. And because of that, I'm also then doing some training in Linux myself, because Linux is fairly new to me. But I'm glad to be able to join you today. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. And I love that I know that online participation can be sometimes challenging, but I love that you're able to be around the corner and be with us. And I love that Ellen can be in Scotland and be with us. Like, I'm old enough that that's pretty darn magical to me, considering I remember when I sent my first fax. Okay, so it's my privilege to just do a quick introductory exercise with you. And let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 8 of us. So Donovan and Ellen, you and I, the 3 of us can play. If everyone else, if you'd like to get into a partner, get with a partner. And I've got some dice here. So between the 2 of you, if you want to take 1 die, okay, and take turns rolling the die. If you get a 1 or a 2, if you roll a 1 or a 2, then share with your partner one of the best times you've had volunteering. And if you haven't ever volunteered, make something up. That's okay. If you roll a 3 or a 4, okay, then talk about the worst time you've had volunteering, something that didn't go well. And if you roll a 5 or a 6, talk about something that you've done in your volunteering that's a little unusual or unique. So that's up on the screen there. Again, a 1 or a 2 is something, a best experience volunteering. A 3 or a 4 is something that did not go very well volunteering. And a 5 or a 6 is something unusual or unique in your volunteering experience. So feel free to partner and have one of your partners come up and get a die. And Donovan and Ellen, are you guys okay if I roll the dice for you?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay. So,
sounds good.
So maybe just take that in. Okay.
So we're gonna be partners.
So Donovan and Ellen, I'm just rolling dice here, and I got
So I don't
4.
need the dice.
So who wants to go first?
A worst experience.
You want to try? Yes, it's okay. So and okay, just so you know, people can hear you speaking, but they're also speaking. So
Sure.
just so they know what's happening in the room.
Yeah. I guess for me, I've probably had a number of not spectacular volunteer experiences, but I used to do a lot of volunteering in high school for youth leadership conferences, and we would spend a whole lot of time investing into making these events work. And I guess the bad experience there was just feeling underappreciated.
So that's
If you're pouring your heart and soul and time and effort and you don't feel appreciated, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
Okay, Donovan, can I roll for you? Donovan, can I roll the dice for you?
Sure. I thought I was a 4 also. Go ahead.
Okay, I rolled a 3. Okay, so again, so
What's a 3 then?
a 3 is the same thing. So something
Same thing, okay. Yeah, I don't know that I have had very bad experiences with volunteering, unless you count maybe being unable to. I volunteered a couple of times working a Linux training center. A couple of times I've gone into some meetings with them, and I simply cannot leave at the end. I mean, the meeting goes on forever, so I'm unable to leave at the right time to come pick my wife and my son from school. And maybe that's about the worst I've had. Being unable to leave the meeting because it's not ending at an appropriate time, and so you have to just walk out or.
19, I think. when I went.
You're making me recognize other experiences. I think if you say, I'm available for this amount of time, and then the
Right.
assumption is that you can just be there the whole time, and that's not going to happen. That's incredibly disrespectful. Yeah. Okay,
I
I'm gonna roll
changed
for
a lot.
myself. Okay, a 6. Okay, so something unique. So I volunteered for the Vancouver Olympics in 2010. It was really unique and in a lot of ways. And we were the team that had the most amount of training. So basically, we were the team volunteers that if other teams couldn't solve the problems, people would come to us. So I had this Italian skier and his coach come to me, like, do you like to shift one day? He didn't feel like the judges had made an appropriate call. So I just wanted to let you know what his request was. I had a snowboarding team, bizarrely in 2010, we had no snow. And I had this snowboarding team from India, I can't remember where they were from, South America. And they wanted to get their team up to another mountain for the practice sessions before the Olympics, so I had to figure out transporting all their gear and that was really unique and just amazing. Like when the Canadian and the US the men's hockey teams walked into the building, all the mouths were dropping and like, not that was pretty.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, okay. Ellen, are you okay to do more? Can I
Carry on.
Yeah, sure.
4. You have 4.
Another bad experience. I guess I did, a volunteer placement in India a number of years ago, and there were lots of amazing parts about it, so I won't say that it was all bad. But I think one of the challenging parts was feeling sometimes like I was a burden, and that feeling like an uncomfortable thing, like a burden on staff who had other important priorities that should have been their priority, and that my placement probably shouldn't be their priority. So it wasn't their fault that I felt like a burden, but more I think the design of the opportunity maybe wasn't the most appropriate.
Yeah. Oh, I hear that. That sounds awkward, and I'm sure you navigated that with grace. But yeah, difficult experience. Okay, Donovan, for you, is that all right? Donovan, can I roll the dice for you once more?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Can I roll the dice for you once more?
Please do.
I'm just going to make a quick announcement to the group. So folks, if you can just take one more, we're just going to do one more round. So, and then we'll come back together. Yeah, if you haven't already, make sure that each of you have had a turn. Sorry. No, you're going to stay with your partner.
No, but she's going to go over there because
she's doing 1 and 2. So we'll just, in other words, we're going to come together as a large group in maybe a minute or so. Okay, so finish up your last story and last roll. Okay, Donovan. Oh, we got a 1. Okay, so one of your best experiences, Donovan.
That for me.
Yeah.
I guess one of the best experiences volunteering would be when I volunteered to work at an orphanage, I think in South Africa. So we had an opportunity to feed young children, and some of them babies.
Really? So are you ready
to hold them, and so that was a good experience for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
incredibly powerful, actually,
Yeah.
to me with tiny babies.
so much.
Yeah.
It was at the water
Okay.
side.
Well, great, and I know, I just want to also say especially to you, Donovan and Ellen, thank you for, I know it's a little harder to participate online, and I just hope that you feel included, and it's just really, really lovely and exciting to have you online, so thanks for joining us. I'm just going to bring the show back now, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the themes that came out. So folks, if I can bring your attention back to the large group, please. Okay. So I don't know about you, but I have a burning curiosity to hear what some of you were talking about. Like I'm interested in a little bit of the themes that came out. So maybe we can go through just very briefly before I introduce Sonia. So if you want to share a little bit about each of the ones, I don't know if everyone hit each of the 3 categories, but what came up when you were talking about some of your best experiences? What made it the best volunteer experience for you? Did anyone talk about that one?
It's kind of a trick question because mine ended up all the best and the worst and the unique were all the same.
Interesting.
That's actually interesting.
Yeah. So when you think about the best part of it, and you know, why was that? What made it the best?
The exposure to experiences and people that I had not yet been exposed to, and the learning within that it really was a turning point.
Lots of learning, lots of newness. You know, it wasn't same old, but different people, different
not at all. It was
environment.
one of those, oftentimes I get into these, how did I get myself into this? You know, like, no, it's a theme in my life.
Okay.
Other than what are the lessons we learned.
Nice. Anyone else? Anyone?
Also the fact that just doing something small actually changes someone's life. So you do something small, small, but to someone else it's really big. That's like it changes the lives completely.
Nice. You know, I was listening to this podcast, an Oprah podcast, and Jeff Bridges was getting interviewed, and he talked, I think it's a Buddhist concept, but he talked about apparently on big ships, to move the rudder, they actually use a tiny little rudder. So that tiny little rudder moves the bigger rudder, and I'm like, oh, that is an interesting, like just exactly what you talked about, Halima. What small thing can you do that made a big impact? Yeah, lovely, it's great. So I think as volunteers wanting to see the effect of your work, wanting to see the change, Donovan talked about that, volunteering with in an orphanage and just feeling, you know, useful and that you're making a difference. Yeah. Did anyone talk about worst experiences? Our group kept rolling those 2 numbers. What made it worse? Halima.
We didn't get to the worst part.
Yeah.
I think the fact that when you give, you're out there, and now you get exposed fast, and also there are also negative people who bring you down.
Yeah.
The systems that don't really work, so they actually pull you down. So that is something that.
Sometimes the organization's not ready for you. They don't know what to do with you. It's not, you know. Ellen talked about. Ellen, do you want to mention that your piece there? I don't want to speak for you.
Yeah, I guess just similarly, you know, not really feeling like you have a role that is maybe creating value and instead being a bit of a burden on the staff. Like they have other priorities that maybe should be the priority over the work that you're doing.
Yeah. And Donovan also talked about, and this brought back a horrible memory for me, when your time isn't valued, you know, when you say you're going to give this much time and they assume that means this much time. And I remember going to a board meeting and the executive director was late, like ridiculously late. And and you couldn't get in the building and I was standing outside, you know, it was nighttime. Like, I do not feel appreciated. I don't need people to wave pom-poms, but you need to respect my time. So yeah. Okay, and then unique. Anyone, anything about something particularly unique or unusual about your volunteer experience?
I think we shared the story which kind of illustrates kind of fun coming into volunteering, and you sometimes sign up, like you said, you sign up for one thing, you find yourself doing something else. And I found myself being pushed well out of my comfort zone when I was just working in a kind of community library where we were living. But because we were living amongst lots of Americans, and I'm obviously not American, I have a Scottish accent, they really liked my accent and said, we're doing a puppet show for all the kids. Can you volunteer? And that's not my comfortable place at all. But do you know what? When you push yourself out of your comfort zone, I had the best time. It was so much fun. And because luckily because it was puppets, I didn't actually have to get out there. Hide behind you. But after the third showing, I was it was brilliant. So sometimes you end up, you start off doing one thing, you end up finding yourself massively out of your comfort zone, but it can be positive.
Yeah, and I think that can obviously happen in the workplace, but there's a special gift about volunteering that can be a massive benefit, that you absolutely end up doing things you never thought you were going to do. And because there's not a paycheck attached to it, there's somehow more freedom, so, okay, great. Oh, thanks for sharing. Those are great. Nathan, did you want to say anything? Yeah. Okay. Well, I would love to introduce Sonia, who's come a very long way to be with us. Germany, or through Germany into Rwanda, and then here. And our tradition with guest speakers is that I ask them to give me 6 words or 6 phrases that I'll share with you. And then you pick 2 or 3 of these, and these are the ones that she'll introduce herself with. So I've just realized they've gone onto a different page here. So one is passionate about education, personal development, volunteering, Rwanda, Franconian Switzerland, and Simba. So what's one that you're interested in there? Simba? Okay, so we've got Simba and Rwanda, and one last one?
Franconian Switzerland.
Franconian Switzerland. Okay, so we've got, actually the last 3. So Rwanda, Franconian Switzerland, and Simba. So I'm going to take this opportunity to switch places so she can be in front of the camera more directly.
Thank you. It's actually interesting because you're choosing those that are not so obviously, and those I would not tell anything about usually if in like a setting. But maybe this is this is what you're doing. Yeah, Rwanda. Let's start with Rwanda. I live in Rwanda. I came to Rwanda like a year and 3 months ago. Also following my husband for his job, and then I just, since then I'm trying to do what I really love to do in freelance and consultancy things. So Rwanda is a country where I really feel at home now. It's very different, of course, to Europe and to anything I've been traveling to, or anywhere I've been traveling to. But also I think it's very different to any other country in Africa. So yeah, but I like it, and it's my home base now. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I always come to other African countries, it's like, oh, Rwanda, it's like the place to go. Everything is so clean. It's very organized, and actually, it really is like the Switzerland of Africa. I think it's like really organized. Something a little bit too organized, and it's like I feel like I'm in Germany already. But, yeah, it's a nice place. So I'm very close. So what was that one? Franconian Switzerland. Oh yes. Franconian Switzerland is the area where it's a small area in the south of Germany, in Bavaria, and that's where I come from, where I was born. And I spent the first 18, 19 years there. So it's kind of a very remote place. It's not very known, but it's very pretty, and you can go hiking, you can go swimming, you can, just enjoy the nature. And my dream is to go back and get a small house there for vacations, so I can always go there. I mean, I can always go there because the family is there, of course, but still, like a second home base there. And Simba is the cat its name is the cat we adopted in Rwanda. Because actually, because it was something that was not really expected to happen to us. And like we've always wanted to have a cat, but of course we live in a small apartment in the city and we are always traveling, so it doesn't make sense. So it didn't make sense at all when we were in Germany to have a cat. And now we're in this house and we have a garden, and people that can care about Simba when we're not there, and it kind of changes your life. And I've never thought that it would be so nice to have a small animal there all the time, like welcoming you when you're back. And for me, this is, I mean, it kind of changed also the way how I look at animals and how I look like, yeah, it's kind of a compliment. So yeah, that's why I chose to put Simba there. So now you know a lot about my personal life. But yeah, I mean, I will maybe add something about my background on volunteering, especially in education. I'm sorry. Do you have any questions actually? I mean, I'm just talking about all these things. Any question about, you can ask me anything.
I don't know if I was actually going to ask you where you came from in Bavaria, because we lived there for
yeah, it's in Bamberg.
Okay, we were in Oberammergau near Gormish.
Okay, that's very south. Yeah, it's actually Franconia.
Okay.
So it's like Franconia is part of Switzerland, part of Bavaria. And a lot of Franconians, they actually say they're not Bavarians, but yeah, there's a whole history about this whole different
It's beautiful part of it.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, and Garmisch is even nicer. It's smart. Yeah.
Great. Well, welcome. We're so happy to have you, and feel free to start your. And Sonia she has a PowerPoint, and as is our custom, she's going to share that with us, and that will go on to our resource document. So I'll send you an email once that's available.
Actually, you know what? This is the wrong. This is the wrong
Presentation.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can we have a small?
Yeah.
Can we just switch the laptop? Maybe it's the easiest thing, or is it?
Can you what?
Can you switch the laptop, or do I have to put it?
No, it needs to be on this.
Okay.
So I'm just going to stop the recording. Just pause the recording. Okay. There we go.
So now I will talk about the quality of learning within volunteering in the Global South. And although you already know about some of my personal characteristics, I would like to add some of the things I did, and you understand why I'm doing this talk today. My background is I'm an educational scientist, and I'm really interested in the way of learning settings and teaching in intercultural, or actually in diverse settings. And volunteering in the Global South is something that I was always interested in, because first of all, I like to travel, I like to learn, and I like to actually gain work experiences abroad. So when I did my kind of volunteer service, I was in the States and also in South America. I thought, okay, this is like I learned so much in all these months I've spent there. So I thought this is actually interesting to actually look at it a little bit closer, and also to get more knowledge about all this learning that's happening within these situations. I'm also editing a journal, and we started a journal like 7 years ago in the German-speaking community about volunteer research. So we are collecting and gathering evaluations, research projects, funding for this project, and we're publishing those in Voluntaris, the Journal of Volunteer Services. Unfortunately, it is mostly in German, but we do, so like the audience is German or German speaking, but we do collect international articles. So we also want to bring like international findings from other places to the German community. It's just because the German communities are kind of a little bit special with all these programs they have there. So this is my background, and yeah, I hope you will enjoy what I am talking about. I'd like to give you a small overview about the program today. So I will give you, first of all, a small introduction on the concept, the education concept that's behind our work. That's global learning or global education. And I will talk about what I define in my work as volunteering in the Global South. Then I will give you a small introduction about my current study, about the impact of or the quality of learning. 3, I will talk about the results of those of the study, and this is actually where I will focus on, and this is actually also what we will work on in the reflection session. So we will work with a framework I elaborated, and finally we will yes. So global education and learning. Has anyone heard about this concept of global education and learning? Anyone has an idea of what global education and global learning can mean? Do you have any thoughts? Not actually something.
Well, I think learning from those outside your physical, immediate community.
Yes. Okay, yes, nothing outside of what you are usually in your small work. Yeah, I think that's definitely one important aspect. So there's like in the German-speaking area and also in the Anglo-Saxon educational scene, there's like different concepts on global education and learning. But basically, it is defined as the pedagogical answer to globalization. Like the globalization, the whole world is connected, and everything gets more complex. And that means actually that education settings have to change. So they're not only one-dimensional, but multi-dimensional, and also include the global dimension. So it's not so much as about certain content, yeah, but it's about different perspective on learning settings, on learning itself. It's about a systemic understanding of learning. So we have the local and the global system. We have the individual and the environment. It's always, and you can do any content you can look at through these lenses. So this is kind of the framework, and the aim of global education, of the concept, is to make the learner able to gain global competencies, whatever that is. There's a big discussion about that, but to be competent to act in the globalized world, to be a global citizen is a big buzzword. And the concept is normative, because we're like global education aims to have global competencies that enables you to act in justice and sustainability. So the whole thing about justice and sustainable development is like framing this concept. If you have any questions, please raise your hand, so you don't have to wait till the end, yes? So in terms of method, global education is always, or should always be, a combination of cognitive thinking and non-cognitive learning elements. So the combination of both and changing perspective is like the global learning concept. And then it aims to transform the individual. So it's a transforming learning approach. That's also a buzzword. Transforming learning is by the and transformative learning is also a concept in psychology, and global education seems to be, or needs to be, transformative. So if you want to get to know more about the education discussion, about the global education, about research on global education, I just put some often important guidelines or sources. There's the Global Education Guidelines. It's a document you can have in 6 languages or so, I think, from the European Network on Global Education. It's more like a practically orientated guideline. You can, just like for conceptualizing your work, more or less, in global education. And then this is the homepage of the Global Education Network in Europe, the practical network. And then you have the ancient network, which is a very new network, the academic network on global education and learning. It's like education and learning. There is like a discussion about what to do, so this should go. And the ancient network just had its second conference last week, and I was attending that, and that's really interesting because like, the academic, like global education is a concept that actually has risen from the practice. So people like NGOs have been implementing educational projects, and now the whole thing is getting to get more reflected by academic and conceptualized by academics actually. Yeah. So this is the ancient network. So what does this on has to do with volunteering? You know, some of these volunteer programs probably. It's just some images, but we have been talking about volunteering here, and volunteering itself, we mean like, okay, you're just doing like volunteer work somewhere, like maybe 2 days a week, 1 day a week. And I'm focusing on volunteering programs, which is actually really a program you get assigned with, you apply for, and you get preparation. They might cover your insurance, and you might go also to a different place, either in your country or in a different country, or even very far country south, which is like the most different in terms of exposuring learning you can probably get. So when I'm talking about volunteer programs, and also the study I did is about this really very defined program. So for example, Peace Corps, some of you know, yes, and the most famous is the UN Volunteers. I put the Weltwärts program, the German program. It's for young people that go abroad, usually after school, like during this kind of gap year. It's a lot about learning, and so they work for 1 year in a non-profit thing. It's always non-profit and volunteering. Even if you get paid something, it's usually set as a kind of an allowance. Yes, of course, the allowance is sometimes very high, so you think, isn't this the salary? But basically, it's like you get an allowance for what you're doing there, which is not a salary compared to what you might be able to earn in another country with your qualifications. Yeah. And so this is like the whole thing. So these programs, they have different aims. Actually, they have more or less the same aims, but like the objectives in the and written down in their concepts are very different. And also how they communicate what they want to achieve in their program, or what they want the volunteers to achieve. So you have those programs, and this is also, I think, it's more like UNV and Peace Corps. They want you to help. So the volunteers understand themselves as actually doing impact where they are working. Yeah, so it was you that said something that you really make a difference when you're there. Yes, so it's kind of motivates you. It's usually the motivation why you do volunteer. It's a very normal and very human thing. And then there's also all the programs actually also have the objective of learning. So now you see here Barbie watching wild animals. This is one kind of learning, but of course also it's learning about yourself. And the learning component has been risen very much in the last year. So there are a lot of programs that actually really only almost focus on the objective of learning. So you as a volunteer go and so your achievement is you're going to be a global competent person after your volunteer program, especially if you're switching countries, especially if you're going abroad, especially if you're from a northern country going to a southern country. But of course, this can all be also applied on the different settings, yes? But this is like from my perspective now. So in this whole learning thing, I was interested in actually the composition or the quality and the structure of these processes. So it's not about the impact of what the volunteers are doing there, and also it's not about what actually the program wants to achieve with the volunteers, because for example, with the welfare programs, they've done an evaluation and then they ask all the volunteers, so what have you learned in the program? Are you now the global competent person, and are you only drinking fair trade coffee, more or less, yeah? Of course, the volunteers say yes, 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 I'm very fair trade competent, and of course that can be a good result. But what in these evaluations, what they're missing is actually to know about what else is happening there in this whole, or what else happened in this year of volunteering. So this is actually what I was looking at in my study. So how does learning happen? What does enhance or inhibit learning processes while you're volunteering? How global or not is learning within volunteering? So are you actually seeing the dimension you're working in? And what other types of learning do happen unintentionally or intentionally? So my work is based on the side of, or the perspective of learning as an integration of the outside to the inside. So it's always, when you're learning, you're always integrating something you're experiencing into yourself. Yes. And based on this, you can ask yourself actually, how does the individual integrate the other, and the other, I'm also talking about what your experiences and what you're experiencing, and it's very subjective, the other, of course, yeah, for you something else is the other than for me, and this defines the quality of learning. So what I did, I will just go through this briefly. I did interviews with returned volunteers. From my perspective, it was volunteers from the global north who went to the global south, and data analysis, phenomenological approach, and interpreting narrative interviews like beyond the lines. So in the end, I constructed 4 types of learning processes. It's not like people that are learning, but it's learning processes that I created. So this whole study is part of my PhD. So this is why I did this all very profound, and it's a lot of data. So it's a lot of work, but everyone is doing this. So the results of this whole interpretation thing is that actually learning starts in the set, with yourself. So it's not starting with what you are experiencing with the other, but actually it starts in yourself. It doesn't seem something very new, but it was very, very clear that in all the interviews, actually, you're always going from yourself, and then it's how you interpret what you're experiencing. And there's 2 subordinate parameters that define the field of learning in my sample. First, the orientation of learning, and the orientation of the integration of the other. So it's either inward, so you're interpreting with your own personality, or you're using the outward world for integrating. I will explain this in the next slide. And secondly, the perspective of the world. So you can either see the world in a mono-perspective way or in a multi-perspective view. And the positioning about between you and the other actually defines the way you're learning. Yes, so it can be different, and it's always does with yourself. So this matrix, it sounds a bit abstract and complicated, but this actually is the framework of the whole possibilities of learning within these volunteering processes. And so we have the orientation on the one axis and the perspective on the other axis, the orientation about the inward or outward orientation, the perspective which could be monoperspective or multi-perspective. And then we have the 4 types, which I would like to introduce you to now of learning. And those types are not said to be ideas, so it's not like there's one person only learning, for example, type 1 or type 2. But if you're learning, you can reflect yourself into different types, and maybe you see one type more or one type less in your learning experiences. So type 1 and 2, they are the monoperspective views that are actually about you, more or less about yourself. It's the biographic self-oriented learning, which means that your learning is orientated on making your biography or your personal development better. Like, for example, I go and learn in this organization to get to know myself better. Can I do this or not, for example? And type 2 is similar, but it's more like on career oriented. So, for example, all these UMB programs and a lot of programs that go to the Global South, usually people do this also because they want to push their career. So I'm experiencing things while volunteering, but this is good for my career. Yeah, it's not about anything else, but so this is like the kind of interpretation modus. And type 3 and type 4 are, I think, the most interesting ones, because it's something, especially type 3 is something new, and it's learning in the modus of multi-perspective view on the world. But one type, the hierarchical type, fails, and type 4, the global learning type, successes. And I want to introduce those types a little bit more deeply. So the hierarchical learning, and this is something that's very interesting too, which I found out in the interviews, is hiatus means it's Greek, and it means a pause or break in continuity in a sequence or activity. So it's learning, but actually it's a pause of learning. And the hierarchical learner is, or the hierarchical learning process is actually a stopped learning process, where you have like the other and yourself in a very, very big distance. So the difference in between you and your values, your knowledge, and the other, what you experience, is so big that you actually cannot connect it. So you're not able to do a connection and reflect what you're experiencing. So what is happening? You get frustrated. You're like, you cannot cope with this, what you're experiencing. You cannot do something with it, yeah. So, and in this moment, usually what is happening, and I could draw this in the interviews very, very clearly, that you have stereotyped views of what your experience is about the country you're in, about the organization you're working at, about the people you're working at. Oh, these are all, they have just no idea. Or they are just all like this, you know. So you're kind of frustrated because you're not able to cope with all this difference. But you have, of course, you know, you should learn about these global issues that are about this global context you're in, but you're not able to do it. So it's kind of failed learning, you could say. And this learning process is usually not represented in the evaluations of those programs. It sounds very negative, but it is actually one step before what all these programs want to achieve, which is type 4. One second. Global learning. So global learning actually means, so what happens here? We have a bridge, so we have something which can be some facilitator, some methods, or some reflection processes that actually help you to overcome the gap and to get the other integrated into yourself. Or it can also happen. You can also do this. You can also jump over there. But yeah, you see that it's dangerous, it's risky. So I don't know. It's not everyone who is able to do this. And global learning then in the end is like actually really getting the other into yourself and getting a perspective, getting empathy about what you have experienced, about the other you're working with, about the competence to deal with the other, even if there's a big difference. So, and this big gap is when this it's actually only possible if this is there before. And this is more or less the main thing I found out. And I think it's interesting, especially when you're designing these programs, when you're doing the preparation classes, when you are counseling the volunteers, when you're accompanying them, that you actually have in mind that, you know, not everyone has this bridge and not everyone is able to jump, but you can, as an organization or facilitator, maybe help them to jump or to get over it. So they're not so frustrated with all this, and they're not standing here and stop it here. And this whole process usually is actually happening after the volunteering programs. It's happening 3-4 months, up to 10 years later. They are still building on this bridge on their experiences. So I interviewed people that had been doing volunteer assignments like 10 years before, 10 years ago, and they're still reflecting and still and this is what I experienced there. Now I see different. Now I have the perspective because you're getting different reflection opportunities in your life actually afterwards. Yeah, so you're growing. Yes. So now I had the idea of getting you involved with all these types, and I would like to work you in pairs. I mean, we did this in the morning already, but still, maybe you want to reflect maybe in different couples how living abroad or being with people from abroad. I mean, this actually can be applied on contexts when you're in your country and still you're constantly working also with different people. How this actually influenced your personal or professional development. Did you have any negative or stereotypical learning experiences? Have you had this hiatic learning? Have you failed in learning? Have you actually think, this is like all these people, no, I don't want to see them anymore? And did you have any bridges that maybe helped you to overcome these gaps, or not? Or maybe have you wished that you have had more assistance to do the jump, the overlearning? So this was the idea. I don't know how maybe you want to get together and talk about these 3 questions, and then we can share your main ideas in the round. Does this make sense to you, or do you have any other questions?
Yeah, and I think some people in the group are not living abroad.
Yes.
So if you have experience to draw from, if you've traveled abroad, or
Exactly.
or if you're living in your home country and you're interacting a lot with people from,
yes,
if you're interacting with expats a lot, like that would be an interesting question to look at.
Yeah.
Right? What are the expats
yes, exactly. This is
doing or not doing?
What's in the first. So like with being with people from abroad, yes, or like interacting. It's actually at any intercultural or any setting.
Great.
Okay. Like if you want to have, I don't know, kind of a group, even if it's such a small group, you can also share it like in the group. I don't know if you prefer.
Do you prefer to do small group work or whole group work?
Big group, yes. I think it's actually good for small group because I prepared this. I thought we are more people, so that's why I have the pairs. But maybe it's I'm actually interested.
Great. Okay. And Donovan, I think there's some background noise coming from your end. If you want to just mute yourself unless until you're ready to speak, that would be helpful.
What does the noise sound like?
We just heard a child. There just seems like some moving around. And...
Yeah, I heard the child too, but no children here, so I don't know where it came from.
Okay, I'm not on the maybe you can mute them for me.
But I'll still go ahead and mute my mic.
Okay. Unmute. Okay. No, you want to keep it muted. There you go. Oh, and because he just muted himself. Oh, and we've had someone new join us. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Mia. You're very, very welcome to be here. Thank you for attending. Okay, so let's hear some stories about I'm in the camera or not. Yeah. So either living abroad, interacting with people abroad. I know there's one person in this group who has some, I'm sure, very interesting stories to tell about being a person of color, interacting with, people who aren't in a country of Canada that has historically been, very oppressive of Aboriginal people. Who wants to start?
Okay, let me go, seeing as I'm sitting at the end. So we've lived as a family in a few different countries. We've been involved in NATO, so in all the NATO nations. So we've been in places where you've got all the NATO nations kind of represented. And here in Kenya, my kids go to a very multinational school, so we have had exposure to a huge number of different nationalities through that. And I would say that experience has almost confirmed cultural stereotypes, but that's okay. So that's actually fun, and you can move beyond the cultural stereotypes, because they are there, because they are stereotypical. So we did joke about how the French are arrogant, the Brits are superior, the Germans are very efficient, but people, and you make these jokes, but that's fine, and then you can move beyond that. So you can kind of accept differences because the differences are there. We are culturally different, but that's fine. Yeah, and then it's how we then move beyond that. Yeah, I think it's what I've experienced.
I have a term for this called looking for similarities that are significant and differences that make a difference. Right. So in other words, where can we bridge? Like, where are we the same? And where are the differences significant and they need to be acknowledged as differences?
But I suppose it's in many fundamental senses, we're all the same, but actually it's okay to acknowledge that there are differences. Yeah. There's differences of colour of skin, of colour of hair, of religion, of culture, of whatever. But that's not then a barrier to kind of understanding and empathy and sharing the kind of significant experiences of life and death and marriage and children and all those kind of really foundational things. I think that's probably what I've sort of discovered most in the last sort of 20 odd years that we've been around.
Very cool. That's an interesting point of view, yeah. It's you want to go?
Respect of our communities. Sometimes it's very easy, to ship in your experiences and not understand how a certain community functions. Hence, making your work easier. So I think I'm sharing this from a colleague of mine who has from UK now works in the US. I've been in Kenya for some time and I worked with him before. And just to see how and the project that we were working with, he was able to understand what are the cultural ways of how our community goes about these things. If it means having to say hi to everybody in the room for the sake of having to, get through and blend in. If it means having to eat the food they have without any discrimination of any sorts. And just understanding that this is going to work, and it's a way of having to ensure we embrace each other and so on.
Yeah, I think that's a great example. I did some training for a few times for the Canadian High Commission, and one training they wanted me to do was to work with the incoming Canadian staff. And so I said, sure, but as a part of that, I said, what I'd like to do is some research, talk to the local staff and say, what do you wish the Canadian staff, know when they're first coming in? And then talk to the older Canadian staff and say, what do you wish you first knew? And exactly that issue came up with the local staff. Like, Canadians, they don't say hi, they just get right to the, they get to the point, to the task, whatever. And that was interpreted by Kenyans as you're ignoring me, you're being rude, you're being impolite. Whereas a Canadian would say, we're being efficient, we're getting stuff done. And it was the exact same situation viewed through two completely different cultural lenses. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Yeah. Helena, does anything come to mind for you?
Yes. Well, for me, it's a personal experience. My late stepdad was British. So he was retired about almost 60, 65. So for him to relocate from England to Kenya, just coming to live with us, the culture, the religion, everything is different. So you're living in a whole, the language, there's language barrier, probably from relatives, from friends, and also the cultural aspect, the religious aspect, that's also different. But then at the end of this, like living with him for like 18 years, you kind of find out that we're just the same. There's nothing different. Like A could buy her. So that is something that probably was a bridge. It's just a stereotype. Like maybe color is different, our experiences are different, how we're brought up is different, but ultimately the fundamental issues we all go through is the same. So that's something like that.
Nice. And what about being, like, from my eyes, you're a young woman. I don't know how you would define yourself. From my eyes, I would call you a young woman. You're working on your PhD in social entrepreneurship, right? Yeah. So what about cultural differences around things to do with gender? Like, is this, do you hit barriers around women in business, women in higher education? Because there's all sorts of different ways to define culture, right? And I would put gender under there, and education.
Yeah, sure. Well, in the developing countries, of course, the number of women, in terms when you higher level of education, doctorate degree, of course, the less women.
Not just in the developing world.
As well, in terms of religion, you find probably you're the only doctorate in your whole community, or probably they probably will see you like you're not the married type because you're too educated, you're too independent. So all those sort of stereotypes also within the African setting.
And I think you've touched on a really interesting issue of how you see yourself may or may not match how your cultural groups see you. Yeah.
I would like to focus on these images before. Anyone knows this Instagram account, Barbie Savior? Have you heard about this?
The pictures?
Then
Barbie Savior.
Baby Savior. Yes, seen this. Yes, yeah. So it's two Swedish volunteers that created an Instagram account using like fake images with Barbie in typical volunteer situations when Westerners come to a country in the global South. Yes, but like of course, absolutely stereotyped and like over exaggerated a little bit, but it led to a big discussion, and especially like the left image you have here, like this white Barbie thing and Barbie puppet helping this dark-skinned small children in this environment is kind of very stereotyped, yeah. So what happened, especially, and that's what I found out in the center, because I had a lot of young people that went to a country in Africa or South America, and they couldn't cope with this difference. So in the scientists, so they weren't beyond it. So but they were just like, oh, it's not, and then they had really like the impression, okay, like Africa is poor and I will help them. So, and like also transporting these pictures via Facebook, via Instagram, via their talks when they come back, you know. So, and this kind of learning, yeah, I think it's complicated, no? I don't know what you think about this. I mean, you, I think you don't decide and define yourself like this small, no?
I think I was reading about the volunteerism and the negative sides of volunteering and things as well, and governance issues. And you know, the problem with some of these kind of programs, which are really beneficial to the volunteer more than they are to the community they're helping, and at least that's kind of acknowledged now to a greater degree. Yeah. But it does just simply reinforce the same image of poor Africa and all the starving babies with extended bellies, and not you know, shiny, you know, fantastic buildings full of entrepreneurs and amazing people in Africa. It just reinforces that kind of power imbalance and the kind of stereotype, and I have a real issue with volunteering now. I think we need to understand it better. We need to understand motivations, consequences, effectiveness, impact, all of those kinds of things. And I'm just sort of starting to kind of start that journey around, you know, how that can be done. Yeah. Not even just in the kind of global South context, but even within our own kind of communities, and how we impact on people within our own communities when there's all these kind of different factors at play that are only just now, I think, you're starting to kind of be teased out. I think it's fascinating, it's really interesting, but I think I'm now become a kind of almost anti-volunteer.
That's a big anti-volunteer. Also. But I mean, my opinion about this is, this can happen, yes, but it happens because you don't have the right program which has qualified people to actually prepare the people who go somewhere or who do the volunteering. And this is like a big problem in actually all the programs, that people are just pushed into a new workplace, into maybe abroad or in their own community, and they're not prepared to reflect what they're doing there. It's actually the whole thing about reflection and about and how do you interpret what you're experiencing. And if you are the one who was working in this orphanage in India, it's like this typical volunteering problem. You have to reflect your work there and what impact this has on the whole system of the orphanages. And there's a lot of documentaries. I would really recommend you to look at this if you're interested in this. About the whole industry of orphanages in India.
Yeah.
And they're reproducing and the whole volunteer and
sustained.
And so and companies like so much money about this. And like this whole negative side is kind of important, but I really want, and this is also why I'm doing this work. I really would love this to be reflected in a more differentiated way.
I think one of the issues is almost how do you professionalize volunteering without it being professionalized? Because it's the same with kind of any commercial versus kind of non-profit kind of organisation. There's a different ethos, it's a different spirit, a different atmosphere, but actually that can be very ineffective and that can actually be harmful. So how do you bring in kind of more professional concepts and practices and processes to the non-profit sector, to volunteering, without losing, you know, the kind of unique nature that it is. And that for me, social enterprise is one of those kind of key kind of drivers for kind of more positive kind of change. I think that feels like a much more dignified way of trying to kind of support communities that need support, rather than that very sort of Victorian charitable. And I think this volunteering kind of falls into this category. It simply reinforces a power balance. You've got these, you know, white, presumably Western kids who are coming in and kind of helping, or not actually helping.
Actually not helping.
And then there was a really, I don't know if you heard, there was a really good program on the BBC World Service about volunteerism, and they had a young girl from the United States who'd gone out and had been, you know, building a, you know, painting a school or whatever it was. And she said, I was getting really grumpy because, you know, there's all these guys in the village who were not helping us. They didn't seem to be doing anything. And I was thinking, this is a bit odd. And so, again, she's very separate from obviously what the other was. But then she said she was training to do a marathon, so she was going out doing early morning runs. And she ran past the school that they were all busy painting each day, and all the men that she'd seen sitting around doing nothing were there, basically undoing all the really shoddy work that the volunteers had been doing, and then redoing it again. So she's now become a real strong critic of these kind of service mission projects and things like you know.
Is it the one project on Instagram on YouTube that is short videos?
Right.
Are you talking about this girl that is doing these short videos over on
I don't know if it's the same one. I heard her on a BBC World Service programme. Because again, that was going into the orphanages thing, and you know, when you can go and spend a month in an orphanage, but actually have them on orphans and all this kind of stuff. So that's really, I think it's a really interesting kind of complex issue.
I just hope we don't swing too far to the other side. Like, I think the benefits of, you know, I went into a volunteer program in Canada for 9 months, and I lived in 3 different communities for 3 months each. Was living with a group of 17 to 21-year-olds who got paid $1 a day. We lived in the same house, we cooked together, we volunteered all day. And when I went into that program, I was going to be a fashion designer. When I came out, and actually I got my acceptance on that program, and I turned it down because the human dynamics, and I mean, it was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So the benefits to volunteer, and maybe we need a new word, you know, maybe there needs to be a new word, but when it's done right, can literally be life-changing. And Nathan, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit there, hon. I think you're by far the youngest person in the group, and I know you do a lot of really interesting volunteer work. And also, being a Canadian Aboriginal person, you know, you might be able to, you might have seen examples of white people coming into, you know, Aboriginal communities, and, you know, oh, we're going to help, and we're going to, you know, and see them like just completely wreck things. So is there anything that you want to add, like as an Aboriginal person and having done volunteer work? And I know those are big questions.
No, not really.
Yeah.
So we've had that happen really.
As a young person who is actively volunteering, are there things that you do or don't do to make that experience good for yourself? Or like if someone says, hey Nathan, can you volunteer and do this thing? Like, do you ask yourself, okay, like how do you decide whether to say yes to when someone asks you to volunteer?
I'm free to do it really.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I want to share some other view, because we have been talking now about the stereotypes between the global north and global south, and always focusing on the negative stereotypes about the global south. And in Germany, we have this Great Reds program I mentioned, and a few years ago, they also started finally the component of inviting people from the global south to the global north. There are some programs in Europe that are doing
Can I just jump in there? I know we've got like a total learning expert in the room here, and I don't know if there's another time to jump in with feedback and conversation, but it would be a travesty if we ended this workshop and Anita didn't have any input. So
Just again. I thought we have time for.
sorry.
Yeah, there will be time. Yeah.
Okay, so there's another time for input.
Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared about another input.
Oh, okay. I just.
Sorry, did you have a specific question or?
Well, I mean, your critical thinking skills are like unparalleled. So, yeah, just, I mean, any general observations about, as a mom of, two young kids and as a woman who goes in to work with communities and.
Well, it's funny too, because I'm moving back to my home country, so I'm going through this process in reverse. And trying to think, how can I keep that global learning mindset even when I go back to
Where are you based?
I'm moving back to California, to America, where I'm from. I don't look American, which is a whole other learning process. But I think what you spoke on, Jill, the power and privilege dynamic is huge, and if that is not addressed, even in the motivations for learning, right? And I love what you said about how learning starts with yourself, but you really need that openness and that learner mindset, I think, in whichever opportunity you go into, and really be open to that. And then when you mentioned about volunteer program, I had the privilege of working with FK Norway, which is a Norwegian version of the Peace Corps, and it was a mutual exchange program, which is brilliant. And I'm just reflecting back now, I worked on the preparation program, and so I got to do a 2-day workshop about power and privilege and what it means for them to think about and discuss before they go into these situations. So that was very well run.
The Norwegian program is one of the best programs in the world that we use mutual. I don't know the program.
Nice. And just to also acknowledge our folks online.
Yes.
Ellen, or Donovan, is that Meg?
There's Meg and there's Donovan.
And you press that arrow there. You'll see the little arrow down. No. Oh. And we've got a few folks online. I know our topics have been wide ranging. If there's anything from your experience, anything you want to add to the conversation, you're most welcome. So we'll just have a couple of seconds of maybe uncomfortable silence, just because I know you have to unmute if you want to talk. So we'll just leave a couple of seconds of silence there if anyone wants to jump in with any observations. You're welcome.
Ellen said she's working in volunteering, no?
Okay. Well,
Ellen is unmuting herself.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hello.
Sorry. I am working for an organization that does volunteer sending, and it's just, I mean, I guess for me, even joining, even working for the organization, it was really important to me that these were the kinds of conversations that we were having, just being, I think we've gone, there's been an evolution over the last 10 years or so in terms of the level of intentionality and design going into the volunteer experiences, the whole experience, and the engagement with the community partner as well. It definitely went from an organization sending folks kind of trekking into the jungle to do like mostly health related interventions. That's kind of how alumni would describe it themselves. And now the organization is focusing much more intentionally around youth to youth experiences and youth the programs or partners in country also being kind of youth engagement partners, and then Canadian youth engaging with youth globally. So yeah, I mean, it's just a conversation that I think so many of the, at least Canadian volunteer cooperation organizations are engaging in, but I don't think there's been, I don't think it's easier said than done, I guess, and actually putting the resources towards ensuring that these experiences are, just really intentionally designed for learning, and that we have the resources to do the training of the volunteers in advance, to make it a really positive and constructive experience is a limitation. It's something that we struggle with constantly, like just having the resources to do that in the way that we know is really important and really necessary.
So is this a state-funded program you're working with, or?
So it's funded by Global Affairs Canada. So our kind of development agency in Canada. We have a funding portfolio called Volunteer Cooperation Program in Canada, and so basically all of the organizations that send Canadians or support Canadians in volunteering globally get funded under that funding umbrella.
Okay, so do you have any suggestion for politics to make these programs, or like to change these programs into having more resources or something?
Yeah, I mean,
No.
it's super interesting. I think that is one of the sides of it. It is kind of advocacy among the group of organizations that are often funded under this umbrella. And there's appetite, within the government, I would say, to shift, but again, the gap between kind of the narrative that we hear sometimes from that agency that's funding and what they're interested in versus then when the call for proposals comes out and it's very much the same sort of structure as previously, there's still definitely a gap between kind of intention and design.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. So is there anyone else from the, yes?
Anyone else online want to make, thanks Ellen, that was
Because
super interesting.
Yeah, and actually it's, yeah, is there anyone? Donovan or Megan? Yeah, okay, there's. If not, I would actually just take this input for the conclusion, because we were already talking about the implications for the practice. And so what I found out, and also what is in the whole discussion, is that all this, a lot of programs are actually do pursue lofty aspirations, so kind of too much expectations to the volunteers. That we found out that learning is not a one-dimensional but a complex process. We found that the quality of learning is really to the individual, not to the program itself. This is also what you said before. It's actually interesting that you said really things that I hear on this slide. And the reflections of the experiences after the placement are the most relevant ones. I already said that. And yes, there's another slide which is like, why did I do this whole study? So the qualitative approach and doing all these interviews. Do you have any ideas why I did this? Because it's nothing like absolutely new, that you know that you're learning from yourself. So the answer to this I can give you is that I think we do need in this whole volunteering scene and also in the educational practice scene that we do need more foundations, like empirical foundations, and more theory about the practice is doing. That helps us to give and to get more funding. That helps us to ensure the quality of the work we are doing, and actually also to ensure the quality of all these programs. So I think scientists, and I am scientists, should connect more to the practice in this whole field, so to get more interchange, exchanging those ideas about this. So I leave you with some literature of my study. You will have this on the PowerPoint, and say thank you for your attention in our workshop today, and I hope you got some input, some insights, and thank you for your inputs.
That was great. Anita, can I call you up for a moment?
It's kind of a meta thank you though, because you were discussing global dimensions in learning settings within a global learning setting.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing your wisdom, and also just bringing yourself and sharing it with others. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for being part of this community.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not based here, but and I contacted Leanne even before I went to Rwanda to check out like who is working in the development learning and learning sector in the area. And in Rwanda, there's not so many people gathering like this, or it's actually more institutionalized and you don't get into it so far. So thank you for being part of this, and I hope to see you all, if not in person, online in one of the next sessions.
Yeah.
I will meet you.
Thank you. And just while I'm, PCs are so hard. How do I get it back to, folks online, I'm just going to stop the share just for a second. And I'm just going to take us back to our agenda here. Such a good experience to sometimes feel like a total kindergartner when you're okay, there we go.
It's the same the other way around. So when I'm
no, it's not the same. No, Macs are much easier.
I've heard this for a long time.
Okay. Okay. So just another thank you to Sonia. It's just really lovely. I mean, she's based in Rwanda, and she was able to come, and it's a real treat. And while we're saying thank you, I'd also like to really recognize Francis and Charity at the back. Super helpful. Like, this technology is beyond me. So the fact that we have this support, let's get them around. Making the sound and all of that work has just been really, really great. So to finish up, on the agenda, you'll see there's lots of resources there at the bottom. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, make sure you find us and click to join. It is a private group, so you do need to ask to join, but as soon as I see that, I approve you, and then feel free to post, ask questions, offer resources. It's a pretty active group, so you're more than welcome. As a lot of learning and development people, if you're looking for any icebreakers or energizers or learning activities, we have a database which is free for members to look at. It does have a little bit of a hitch to it though, in that you have to enter your favorite icebreaker or energizer, and as soon as you enter one, you get access to the database. So feel free to do that if that calls to you. Also, we have a learning and development needs and asset worksheet. So if you want to put your name and contact information there. At the very beginning of designing this roundtable, members made it clear that they did not want me to share your contact information, so I don't do that. I keep it all private. However, this is a space that the asset list is a space to share contact information. If you're looking for stuff or you have services to offer, you can go on there. And then we have a online write-up of 6+ years of learning and development roundtables. So that's where Sonia's PowerPoint will go up, and everything else is there. So click on that link if you want to see previous meetings. Also, just to turn it over to you, folks online and in the room, any community announcements, or anything coming up in your communities that you want to share? Anita.
We have a Wonder Walk. I run it with Ferdinand, who's usually here but not here today. But it's an opportunity to connect and reflect and learn in the forest. Because learning doesn't have to happen in formal settings. So I believe it's next Thursday, May 23rd, but you can join Wonder Walk Kenya, the Facebook group, for more information or emails.
And I don't know if, has it been posted in our Facebook group?
I don't.
Yes,
know.
it has. Is
I
it
saw
still
it.
in there? Okay.
I saw it.
Okay. Okay, so you can also look in our Facebook group to find the link to that event. Anything else?
I'd like to announce about the International Association of Facilitators. We usually have annual conferences. This year is going to happen in Togo, the week of 2nd, I think. That's trying to remember, because we just posted some time back. But right now, we're still working on information with the team in Togo.
Okay.
We're able to delegate some students this year.
Nice. So Togo, International Association of Facilitators. Would you be able to put a post about that in our Facebook group? So if people want more information, when there's a link available, could you put a post? Is that okay? For anyone local, May 25th, so you may or may not know that Nairobi is a place to have balls. The embassies put on balls. But the 25th, May 25th, is the first inaugural African ball. So you can only imagine how much fun that's going to be. So Google that or send me a WhatsApp or something if you want more information, because I will be there. I will be there on the dance floor with my mama and a bunch of other folks. So come join us if you're interested. Where is it? It's being held, I think it's at the Movenpick. Just overall, if you haven't made a donation and you're planning to, the envelope's there. It also has my phone number. If it's easier for you to M-Pesa, feel free for that. We typically, generally speaking, alternate guest speakers with what we call networking meetings, which is where I give a short workshop on a topic and then people break up into small groups. Which is the format that the June 24th meeting will be. It will be a networking one. And again, that's our next meeting, and it's only online. We won't be meeting here at the UN. And then we'll start meeting again in September. So we won't meet in July or August. And that's all she wrote. So thank you, as always, for being passionate and interested in learning. I am totally biased, but I think learning and education and training and development and all of that is our solution for all the world's problems. So, so thank you for your part that you're playing in that. If you're on the cusp of your weekend, may it be a happy, healthy, fun one. If you're working this weekend, may it be happy and healthy, and hope to see you online June 24th. Thanks everybody to online. We're so grateful to have you here. Another thank you to Sonia for participating, and hope to see you online in the Facebook group and online June 24th for our next meeting. Thanks everybody. I'm going to stop the recording here, but folks online, I'll keep this up and keep out.
And if there's any other question or concern about volunteering,